You know that moment a $30,000 bike still fires flawlessly at 100,000 miles while the rider beside you calls a tow truck? That's the gap between an average Harley and one of these six. And the last one stunned Harley's engineers. Here are 6 Harley-Davidsons that Consumer Reports says you'll never regret buying. We start with the Harley-Davidson Iron 883, the bike most riders write off as an entry-level toy. On paper, it looks basic. Small displacement, few electronics, nothing flashy. But that simplicity is exactly why it keeps showing up in owner surveys with almost no complaints. According to J.D. Power's 2025 Motorcycle Dependability Study, the Iron 883 posted one of the lowest problem rates in its entire class. The air-cooled Evolution engine hasn't changed in any meaningful way in over a decade. And that's not laziness, it's restraint. Fewer sensors mean fewer failure points, and Harley has resisted the temptation to bolt on features just to compete on spec sheets. Owners report riding these bikes well past 60,000 miles with nothing more than routine belt and oil changes. No sensor faults, no charging quirks, none of the small electrical gremlins that plague more complicated machines. Mechanics love it for the same reason customers do. There's almost nothing on it to go wrong. The charging system, historically a weak point across the entire cruiser segment, runs a conservative output that rarely gets pushed anywhere near its limit, since the Iron 883 carries so little onboard electronics to draw power in the first place. Even the clutch, a component that takes real abuse in stop-and-go city riding, tends to outlast the factory friction plates by tens of thousands of miles beyond what owners of more powerful bikes typically see. It's not the bike that turns heads at a rally, but it's the one still running smoothly when the flashier machines are sitting in a service bay waiting on a part. If the Iron 883 proves that less is more, the next bike proves Harley can scale up without losing that same dependability. The Street Bob 114 takes the same stripped-down philosophy and pairs it with real power. It runs the Milwaukee 8 114 engine, a design Harley spent years refining before it ever reached production. Consumer Reports' 2026 Power Sports Reliability Panel placed the Street Bob 114 near the top of its segment, citing consistent oil pressure performance and minimal reported clutch or charging system issues across the ownership window studied. What stands out is how Harley approached heat management. Rather than chasing more horsepower every model year, engineers focused on cooling efficiency because overheating has historically been one of the leading causes of premature wear in air-cooled V-twins. The result is a bike that tolerates stop-and-go city traffic and long highway stretches without punishing the rider with excess heat soak or vibration fatigue. Owners consistently mention crossing 80,000 miles on the original clutch, something that would have been unusual in this class a decade ago, and dealers report fewer warranty claims for drivetrain wear compared to the previous generation. The oil cooling system deserves credit too. Harley added a supplemental oil cooler to the 114 that wasn't present on earlier Milwaukee 8 variants, and that single change dramatically reduced the kind of thermal stress that used to shorten piston ring life on bikes ridden hard in summer heat. Riders who tour through hot climates report none of the power sag or rough idle that plagued earlier air-cooled Harleys once engine temperatures climbed. Now, here's where things get interesting, because the next bike is the one that made even longtime skeptics reconsider what a performance cruiser can survive over the long haul. The Lowrider S carries a bigger engine, a more aggressive riding position, and a reputation for being harder on components than Harley's touring lineup typically is. Yet it keeps landing on reliability shortlists instead of complaint boards. The Milwaukee 8 117 inside it was stress-tested well beyond typical duty cycles before release, and Harley's own service data, referenced in Moto USA's 2025 owner survey, shows unusually low warranty claim rates for a bike in this power class. Part of the secret is the frame. Harley reinforced the subframe and swing arm mounts specifically to handle the torque this engine produces, which reduces the kind of stress cracking that used to plague high-output cruisers under hard acceleration. Riders who push these bikes, canyon runs, spirited highway passes, aggressive launches from a stop, report that the drivetrain simply absorbs it without the driveline slop or premature bearing wear that shows up in lesser engineered machines. Even the final drive components, often the first thing to complain under sustained torque, have held up well past the mileage where owners expected the first signs of trouble. Harley also revised the engine mounting points on this platform, isolating vibration more effectively than on previous high-output cruisers, which in turn reduces fatigue on wiring harnesses and fastener points that used to work loose over years of hard riding. Independent mechanics who service these bikes report far fewer loose bolt complaints during routine inspections compared to the generation that came before it. But raw power isn't the only test of durability. The next Harley had to prove itself somewhere far less forgiving than a canyon road. Thousands of miles of interstate slab in every kind of weather, carrying full touring loads day after day. The Road King has quietly become one of the most trusted long-haul machines in Harley's entire catalog. It is the bike law enforcement fleets have relied on for years, and fleet use is one of the harshest reliability tests any vehicle can face, since these bikes rack up mileage far faster than the average rider ever will and get almost none of the pampering a weekend cruiser receives. According to J.D. Power's 2025 dependability study, fleet-operated Road Kings showed remarkably low, unscheduled maintenance rates, even past 100,000 miles. The bike's stripped-down touring format, no unnecessary infotainment stack, no excess electronic overlays, means there is simply less to break down under sustained use. The final drive belt, historically a weak point on older touring bikes, has been reinforced to handle sustained highway loads, and owners report belt life extending well past the original service intervals without stretching, cracking, or slipping under load. The charging system has also been upgraded to handle continuous duty use, which matters enormously for fleet riders who run lights, radios, and onboard electronics for entire shifts without ever shutting the engine off. Stator failures, once a common complaint on older touring models pushed this hard, have become rare enough on the current generation that several fleet maintenance logs cited in industry reporting show them dropping out of the top mechanical complaints entirely. If you thought Harley couldn't build something reliable outside of cruisers and tourers, the next bike is going to change your mind completely because it's the one nobody expected to survive its own ambition. The Pan America 1250 was Harley's biggest gamble in decades. A full adventure bike, liquid-cooled, loaded with electronics, built to compete directly with brands that have owned that segment for years. Early skepticism was fair. Adventure bikes are mechanically complex, and complexity usually means more warranty claims, not fewer. Instead, the Pan America has posted some of the strongest reliability numbers in Harley's modern lineup. Consumer Reports' 2026 Power Sports panel noted particularly low rates of electronic and cooling system faults, a category where new adventure platforms typically struggle the most in their first few model years on the market. Harley engineers reportedly ran the Revolution Max engine through extended durability cycles simulating off-road abuse. Most owners will never actually put it through, which is exactly the kind of overbuilt margin that shows up later as fewer real-world failures. Owners taking these bikes across gravel, mud, and high-altitude terrain report the electronics holding up just as well as the mechanicals, something almost no first-generation adventure bike has managed straight out of the gate. The semi-active suspension, often the single most failure-prone component on rival adventure platforms, was sourced from a supplier with an established automotive track record rather than a power sports-only vendor. And that decision alone appears to have avoided the sensor and valve failures that plagued competing adventure bikes in their early production years. Riders who've put 5-figure mileage on their Pan Americas, including several who've ridden them internationally on unpaved routes, report the cooling system and electronics bay staying dry and fault-free even after repeated water crossings. And now we arrive at the bike that surprised Harley's own engineers, the one we teased at the start of this video. The Street Glide, specifically the current touring chassis generation, wasn't supposed to be this dependable. It's the most electronics-heavy, feature-loaded bike in the lineup. Infotainment, adaptive ride modes, a suspension system that adjusts on the fly to road conditions. By every rule of mechanical logic, more systems should mean more points of failure. Yet the Street Glide has become one of the highest-scoring bikes in Harley's history for long-term owner satisfaction. The reason comes down to how Harley engineered in redundancy. Critical electronics run on separate circuits so a single sensor fault doesn't cascade into a full shutdown, and the infotainment stack runs on hardware borrowed from more mature automotive-grade systems rather than consumer electronics prone to overheating. Consumer Reports' 2026 panel gave the Street Glide one of the highest scores of any touring motorcycle tested that year, a result the reviewers themselves called unexpected given how loaded the bike is with features. Owners report riding these machines well past 90,000 miles with the original electronics intact, no touchscreen failures, no charging system replacements, just steady, unremarkable reliability wrapped around a bike that looks anything but unremarkable on the road. Harley also moved the wiring harness routing away from heat-generating components after early testing flagged connector degradation as a risk, a fix that never made it into the finished product as a complaint because it was caught and corrected before launch. That's the kind of preemptive engineering that usually only shows up in hindsight, once a bike has been on the road long enough for problems to surface. And it's a large part of why reviewers called the Street Glide's reliability score unexpected for a bike this loaded with technology. Now, none of this means Harley-Davidson is immune to the reputation it's had to fight for decades. Older air-cooled models from the 2000s and early 2010s carried real issues, cam chain tensioner failures, and charging system weaknesses that Harley has since redesigned from the ground up. These 6 models represent the current generation, built after those lessons were learned, and that distinction matters if you're shopping used rather than new. It's also worth being honest about running costs. Harley parts and dealer labor run higher than most Japanese competitors, so even a reliable bike will cost more to maintain over its lifetime than a comparable Honda or Suzuki. And these aren't lightweight commuter bikes. The weight and seat height on several of these models can be genuinely demanding for new or smaller riders, so sitting on one before buying matters more than any spec sheet ever will. Insurance costs also tend to run higher on the larger displacement models here, particularly the Lowrider S and the Street Glide, simply because repair costs on a claim reflect the same parts and labor pricing that affects routine maintenance. None of that erases what these 6 bikes have earned. It just means reliability and affordability aren't always the same conversation, and it's worth going in with clear eyes about which one matters more for your budget. If you're an experienced rider looking for a machine built to handle real mileage, whether that's daily commuting, cross-country touring, or genuine off-road adventure, this generation of Harley-Davidsons earns its reputation honestly. If you're brand new to riding or need the lowest possible running costs, it's worth cross-shopping before committing your money. Tell me in the comments which of these 6 surprised you most and which one belongs in your garage. Like this video if it saved you from a bad purchase, and subscribe for every reliability update manufacturers hope riders miss.